Hello.
Hello, people. Uh, Welcome back to, you guessed it, Blender. We are back with more Blender. Look at this guy. He's ready to teach us some more. He's ready to teach us some more. You know, the the whole dang. You know. So, I guess we should just get started. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Why'd you have to say it like that? Oh, I forgot Oh my god, okay. Okay, so how do I bring this over to... Yay! Springkel... Springkel giggle... Sprinkle. Sprinkle. Yeah. Oh. There we go. Oh my god, that actually looks kind of cool. Oh my god, okay. This is actually so cool. Like, shut up. This is so cool. Oh my god. Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck? That's so neat. Shut up! What? Okay. Say what? Alright. What else is he gonna do? I don't think I want to have a metallic sprinkle. I think I am quite fine with having just these light yellow sprinkles, these lemon looking sprinkles. I'm quite fine with them. But what if you just connect, because you can both connect but okay. Okay, so oh, I see why you couldn't just connect it to both. I see. Okay. I get it. Okay. I get it. Okay, it's because you have to invert them. Hold on a second. There's also a purple. There's also a purple. Hold on. There's also a purple, metallic sprinkle on this donut, on his this only donut too. It's pretty cool. Icing colors. Oh, I forgot I could make my icing different color. I think I'm gonna make it a light blue. Actually, no. I think I'm gonna go with a. No. Should I go with the glaze? Chat, should I go with glazed donut? Or should I just leave this as is? Okay, I like that color actually. There's one just sticking straight out. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, it is taking a while to render. Hold on. We're gonna be here a bit. Are you seriously telling me that this is going to take an hour to render? Right now it looks as good as I want it to. Yep, that's gonna be... Hopefully it doesn't take as long. That's more like it. 14-minute render. That's beautiful. Spring calico. No, but it's actually crazy how slow this is. It's enough samples. It's enough slices. Look at that, it's almost completed its render. Yay! It has completed the render. Hello, Toker. Greetings. Oh. Yes. I. But your username on YouTube is Stoker. Your username on YouTube is Stoker. Donuts. I can't wait to model RAM cards. Hello. I'm gonna do something really quick. Okay, I'm back. We're currently joined by special guest Jackson. He's my cat. My cat is Jackson. So, he is our special guest for today. Everybody say hi to Jackson or your band. Thank you, me. Anyway. Jackson has left. Yes, you hear him? He's back. Oh my god! That's so fast! What? Oh my god. Man, look at that! Look at that! That's crazy! Hold on, I gotta actually render thing with this. Much faster than last time. Hmm. my tea is not... Oh, Jackson just left my room. My tea is not sweet enough. So I'm going to put a little bit of, like the tiniest bit of sugar, because I don't like it that bitter. Hello? I'm back, and I have... Ah, man, I love tea, but I'm not British. Unfortunately, that was such a bad joke. I'm sorry. Everybody left. There are 0 viewers. Oh, I forgot to do this. Okay. So I am back with my tea. Blender, you better not crash on me! Better not crash on me. Okay. All right. Which Spurnkilga or even the Dorkler should I select for this? I think I'm gonna go with the Hujitapuyug de Tom Hur. All right. Okay. Hopefully I can do this. Two decameters. I like that this supports decameters. Oh. Oh my god. How do I divide it into like triangles or quads again? Oh, hold on. If I fill this, then edge select. Wait, where's edge select? Right. I hope I'm cooking. If I'm not, I'm gonna be sad. Yes. Okay. Chat. Am I cooking? I must know. Am I cooking? Bevel. Look at that beautiful plate. Look at it. Oh my god. Okay. This is much better than what I did, the atrocious plate that I did last time. Look at that. That's so good. I'm very sorry, but I have no money. I want to be one of the cool 17 people, but I have no money. If y'all would commission a song, I could support the future of Blender today. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum boom. I did it. Oh. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. $113 for a damn plate? What the? 400? 946? What are you talking about? It's a damn plate! It's a damn plate! $946? That is crazy! Shut up! You're not telling me that that damn plate is... That one damn plate costs $946? You crazy? Are you? I think you are. You're crazy. $71 is still unreasonable for a damn plate. But I mean, at least it's not $946. Jesus. That's what I did. I might have made a mistake. Oh no. I made a low plate. Poly. Myself a good foamy. It's a big plate. Look at this plate. It's pretty big. Credit card debt. Credit card. Because I have $30,000 in credit card debt. When they call, I tell them I can't pay it back debt. Pay it back yet. Credit card debt. 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 Boom, 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 boom. No. Credit card debt. 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 Boom, boom, boom. Credit card debt cover is not going to be coming soon, unfortunately. Oh! That's pretty cool. That's exactly what I did! I think I should bevel this edge, though. This edge. Ooh, I like that. I like that! Oh my god. Okay. That's... That's really cool. Oh my god. Uh, I'm mousing. Oh, I'm mousing up on my scroll. Oh, I forgot to add the thickness. Ugh, stupid me. Hold on. Boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum. Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Just need a very slight bevel on that. Please, and thank you. Oh, you look at that! Look at that! Ah! Oh, that's so cool. Okay, solidify. Too thick. Still too thick. Still too thick. The other way. Shit! That's so... Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm afraid that's not how I want it beveled. Oh, man. Oh, my God. That looks so good! Shit! I just realized my desktop audio has been muted for a while now.
And now in edit mode, I've got both of those edges. So again, holding down Alt and Shift Alt, click on those two edges, and now I'm going to do another bevel right here. Control B and pull it out. Now you'll see that it reaches a point where they start to overlap, and that's not good. I don't want that. I do actually want it to be a complete round form, like really, like essentially that. But you can see I can't really get it exactly right where they're just like meeting in the middle. So there's actually, when you're in certain states in Blender, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, along, let me just do this, along this line here, you can see you've got a number of shortcuts that it lists. And one of them says C for clamp overlap, and currently it's listed as off. So if I, oh dear, let's cancel that. If I, when I hit Control B, whilst I'm in this state, if I hit C, it will turn clamp overlap on, which means it will only bevel and to the point that the edges touch, and then it will stop. And that is exactly what I want. So I'll just click to confirm, And now we have a plate. But when you're modeling something like this, it's very common. If you're doing like extrusions and then you're canceling the extrusion and then you're scaling out, you can end up with vertices on top of vertices. And in fact, when we did that bevel clamping thing, I think what it's done is it's got two edges and they've now merged the vertices in the middle, but it's sharing the same space. So whenever you've got two vertices in exactly the same space, you can have like artifacting that will occur later on. So after I model something like this, I just go into edit mode. I select everything by hitting A, and then I want to find all of those vertices that are accidentally in the wrong place, and then hit M, and then I want to say merge by distance. And now you can see on the bottom of my screen, look at that, it merged 300 vertices. I've modeled this plate a few times. Sometimes it deleted like 400 vertices. Usually it deletes 100. Evidently, when I was doing the extrusion and then canceling it, I think I maybe did it a few times. So we had like 3 rings essentially in the exact same place. So that's why you do that step, because if we didn't, then you would have that and you wouldn't know until you see artifacts later on. All right, but that's it. We now have a wonderful looking plate, and we can close that. Oh yeah, I should show you how to close the window. So when you are closing something, you can go here on this edge and you can right click and then say join areas. The other way is if you go to the top right hand corner of the screen, you get this little like targeting cursor, and then if you click and drag left or right, that will also merge. It's just that's how you used to create windows in Blender. You can also drag out from it and that will split the view. It's kind of an old habit of mine, but most people just prefer to, like, until the cursor changes, right click and then say that. But I still do that sometimes, and then I forget I'm doing a tutorial and I have to explain it. All right, so the plate, we want to make it smooth, so right click, shade smooth, and the reason we have flickering right here is the top of our plate is overlapping with the countertop. So we just need to move this up slightly so that it's not doing that. And if you actually go underneath your countertop, this is usually a very easy way to quickly make it so that it's touching. You just have a little bit of overlap, and then then it looks plausible. Awesome, we have our plate. Now if I move out here, you can see this big giant arrow thing. This is our camera, and it's just too big. The visualization of it is so big that I've got lines in the way, and I don't like it. It's actually a pretty good scale for a normal scene, which is usually tens or hundreds of meters, but we're so small that this camera is just too big. So in the camera tab, go to viewport display and then just turn down the size, right? And I'll go for like 10% of what it was to about a 0.1. Okay, and I'll go for like 10% of what it was to about a 0.1. Okay, great.
I'm looking for it. I'm not seeing it. There. All right.
So what we want to do now is start. Do you guys know that in 2022,
Shit.
Blender was any sprinkles? So have our plate. Now, if I move out here, you can see this big giant arrow thing. This is our camera, and it's just too big. The visualization of it is so big that I've got lines in the way, and I don't like it. It's actually a pretty good scale for a normal scene, which is usually tens or hundreds of meters, but we're so small that this camera is just too big. So in the camera tab, go to viewport display and then just turn down the size, right? And I'll go for, yeah, like 10% of what it was to about a 0.1. Okay, great. So what we want to do now is start laying out the scene. So first and foremost, I'm going to go into looking through my camera view, and I want to get the camera placement right. So hitting Shift tilde key to put me into fly view, and then just scrolling down so that you get really small movements. Not that small, so scroll up a little bit, all right? And then I'm using Q and E to just change the height of the camera to be roughly where I want it. All right, so I'm going to have a stack of donuts. So I'm going to have like one here, one here, one here. So I'm just making room for that, essentially. I shouldn't use this annotation tool. It's being replaced in Blender. Like the new grease pencil is going to be pretty amazing. But anyways, it's the old annotation tool. So yeah, let's start stacking some donuts. So selecting the base donut and then Shift selecting the icing. I'm going to duplicate that by Shift D and then moving it up along the Z axis until they start to touch. Now there is actually some new snapping tools in Blender that is pretty handy, but from experience, having tried it for this, there's so many like little pieces of sprinkle and everything that you're going to have overlapping anyway, because donuts are quite spongy, so they would be, you know, it would be plausible that it would be like kind of squishing the sprinkle. So it's okay to have some clipping. So something like that is okay. Now I'm going to do another donut. So Shift D again, move it up along the Z axis to about there. And I want to make it an interesting stack, not just like a straight stack. So I'll move these around so that we've got kind of a like an S shape like that. All right, duplicate these again. So this is going to be a stack of 4 like so. And then this one, I'll pull back this way, rotate that, go down. All right, and pull it back a little bit. Okay, lovely. Now, looking from the camera, you can see a pattern that has emerged. So you can see this is the same as this, is the same as this, and the eye is very good at detecting patterns, so that's going to be a very big deal breaker for the viewer. They're going to notice that, and it's just going to make the picture look worse. So with each donut selected one by one, I'm going to hit R and then tap Z, and that's going to just rotate along the Z axis. But you can see if I just tap Z, that axis that I put it on a little bit, like just tilted it, it's now like reverse the tilt because I'm rotating along the Z. But what you can do is you can rotate it along its original axis by not tapping Z once, but twice. Okay, and you can see that the line has now changed a little bit because that's putting us now into the local Z axis. So the original rotation of that donut, it's the Z axis on that one, not the scene one. So yeah, that's the way I will do it. And I just want to rotate it until I get a different pattern. So now I've got these little wavy shapes. That's good. Now this one, I'm going to tap R.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
R and then Z and Z again. So it's the local axes. That's pretty good. And then this one, I'll do the same thing. R, Z, Z, and just move it a little bit that way. All right. And now it's a lot less predictable. Cool. And now the same thing for this one. So I'm going to do a stack of 3. So 4 and then 3 on this one. So Shift D, Z, And just coming in here. This isn't hard. This is just, it's just a little finicky, right? It would be good actually if you could use motion, sorry, not motion, like a simulation. Blender does have rigid body tools, but it's again, if we had more funding from some people, we could improve it because the rigid body tools are pretty janky. They don't work well for small objects and it's very fiddly to set up. But I've seen other tools, plugins that people have made for like Unreal Engine, where placing objects is actually a simulation. So you just draw across the plane and you could have like donuts just spawn in and like tumble on each other. And it just means that you don't have a lot of this finicky hand placing of stuff. But for a simple scene like this, I would probably hand place the donuts anyway because you can finesse it a lot better than you would in a simulation anyway. All right, so just like before, try and make it look interesting as I can. Move this one closer. That's pretty good. And then, so that we don't have the repeating shapes, R, Z, Z, like that. And that's pretty good, actually. This one, it's a little bit further. Okay, move that a little bit more. All right, there we go. Oh, did I not hit?
It's, since it's going to be on the plate, I think I should, like, zoom in on here. Hey, woman. Okay, let's see. Yeah, just a little correction. Wow, that's gonna look beautiful in the render. Oh my god. Okay.
Hang on. Did I? Z? Oh, okay. I thought maybe I didn't tap Z twice, but evidently I did. It's got this weird gap, which I kind of have to close now. Okay. So if you can hear traffic, I am right next to a road. I thought, hey, I need an office. Why don't I get an office right next to a busy road with glass? But I'll be moving out of here soon. Planning to move country, if I can. I won't say where I'm moving to. No, I'm planning to move to the United States, actually. Looking to get a visa. Because I want to move to LA. LA. It's where all the other YouTubers are. And I don't know. Every time I go there, I come back with like a bunch of ideas. And yeah, so I'm moving.
Well, you're going to have to learn Spanish in order to not starve.
If I can. Still waiting for a visa to be approved, but we'll see. All right, so I'm just making small adjustments here and there. All right, and the final donut that I will create, take this, I'll just take this bottom one, Shift D, and I'm going to make a donut which is going to be like rotated to the camera a little bit. So yeah, let's move on one axis, said here, and it's just going to be like this. Because this is a much more readable shape that tells you exactly what it is. Because I mean, these stacks could make you believe that maybe it's bagels or like little mini cakes or something like that. So having this one rotated towards the camera makes it very clear that these are donuts.
Blender Guru, in what world would I ever believe these things are not donuts? I mean, like, look at that. That's clearly a donut right there.
Awesome. Right. Cool. Now, it wasn't supposed to be that we have round sprinkles on this side and then long sprinkles on this side. That's just because we were duplicating shapes. But because we've done this with geometry nodes, it's really simple to just swap it out to be something else. So this one here, I actually just want it to be the long sprinkles. So in your geometry node dropdown, click long sprinkles, and there we go. It's just swapped it out.
Lynn.
And now I can mix it up a bit. I can say this one here, I want to have round sprinkles. This one at the bottom, I don't want to have any sprinkles. So it's just a bare donut, because those do exist, right?
I want this one at the top.
I'll say round sprinkles on there, and then I'll make this one long sprinkles.
How do I make a bare donut?
Yeah, and then maybe this one I'll delete it as well. So we get like 2 plain ones. That's pretty good. And there's a big gap here. I don't know why. How did that happen? What did I do wrong? Evidently I made a big gap. By the way, here's a tip. If you so if you just hit R, you're in like tilt mode. But if you tap double R, so you tap R twice, it's now in trackball rotation mode, which depending on your view can be what you want. So I just go there, double tap R, and I just rotate it towards the camera a little bit. And pull it down. Maybe that's what I did. Maybe I lowered the bottom donuts and then the top ones didn't go with it. If you wanted to, you could actually parent the donuts to each other so that when you rotate or move one on the bottom, then it moves the one on the top. But I don't think it's really necessary, and it can be a little bit hard to work with as well. So yeah. Oh, they're now touching. I gotta move them apart. Yeah, something like that. Awesome. Now the countertop, I'm gonna scale this out until the edges of the countertop, like this edge that is here, and then this edge that are here, are just outside of the frame. Because our camera, I mean, we are going to add a camera animation so that it goes down, but we're not going to be like doing a 360 pan of the donut. So we're not going to be able to see the rest of the scene. So we don't need a kitchen countertop that stretches all out this way. It's just a waste of resources. So we're just going to literally just stop at the edges of where the camera can see. I used to think when I was starting 3D that that's like lazy, but now I'm like, no, that's like how you use your resources properly. Otherwise you end up doing stuff that nobody ever sees, which is actually a pretty common problem in the industry. People over-engineer models and things just in case the camera needs to be close, and then it never does, and then, yeah, anyway. Now I do want a backsplash for this, so I'm just going to duplicate the bottom plane here. So Shift D, pull it out to, you know, roughly there, and then I'm going to hit R and then X, so I'm rotating it along the X axis, and then just holding down Control to snap it to the nearest 5-degree increment. And in the top left-hand corner of my screen, I'm just looking for 90, and there it is. So I do a single click, I'll move this up like so, and now we have a backsplash. And the final thing we'll do before moving on to the next tutorial is create some different donut colors. Now you could actually do the same thing as we did for the sprinkles and create that random through color ramp option for this. The trouble I've found with doing it for the donut icings is that you can sometimes just end up with a bad batch where you've got like a string of like yellow donuts and you can't change it because there's no sample option for the random thing. So I find it's better if you haven't got enough objects to instead just manually set up the colors, and it also just allows you to finesse it as more of an artist. So a long way to say we're going to create different materials for each of the different icings. So the one that's already there, we'll just call it pink icing. And now, so I definitely want that one to be pink, which means these ones that are directly
This one's
behind it,
gonna
I
be
definitely
blue.
want to be a different color. So I'm going to click the little number to make it a single user, and I'll call this one blue icing. And then the color,
Well,
I'm
this
going to
one's
make
gonna
it
be
a
pink.
kind of an aqua-ish color. Let's go into material select. There we go. This one here, I'm going to make it a yellow icing. So clicking the little number
I'm
next
gonna
to it.
make this one green.
Yellow icing. And then about
That's
there.
like that's like frizz color icing. This one's gonna be red or orange. Yeah. Pastel blue. No, pastel. Pastel pink. Look at that. No. I like that. Hold on. This one's actually gonna be green.
Good. And then this one at the top, I'm going to make it chocolate icing. Click the little number. Chocolate icing.
Chalk.
Let's go brown. Yeah. It's like how saturated.
You know, I should make this one glaze. I should make it a glaze. Okay, how do I do that? How do I... Chat, help me. How do I make it transparent? Lonely dance, lonely dancer. 名前も聞けず Lonely dancer 体寄せて Lonely dancer きしむけれど Well, I've made it that looks like cum. Okay, well, at least it don't look like cum. Okay.
How warm is chocolate? I mean, I guess you could have like a really desaturated chocolate that's just very dark, but I think it's the more saturated. It kind of looks like milk chocolate, like the kind of delicious, not the really super dark stuff, which I do actually like as an adult. Hated it as a kid, but now I don't know. Normal chocolate is just way too sweet. Okay, that. Now the top one, I'll make that one pink. Yeah, that's fine. And then this one, I'll just make it blue icing. And then this one, I'll make it yellow icing. Oh, wait, now I've got the, yeah, it's blue and yellow and yellow. That's not good. So this bottom one, no, the middle one. Yeah, yep, middle one, I'll make it chocolate. Bottom one, I'll make it blue. Just trying to get like a nice, now I've got pink and pink next to each other. All right, maybe this one will be yellow as well. That's too yellow. All right, maybe the bottom one can be pink. There we go, that's better. All right, so I don't have any like, it now looks more natural, which is just more random, I guess. No, less random, because I'm like manually finessing it myself. So it's less random, but it looks
finesse
more random in a way. Anyway,
finesse,
finally, before we move on, let's start labeling our objects. So first of all, I want to make sure that my plate is inside of my environment collection. So I will now call this plate. This bottom one, I will call it, let's call it counter. And then this back one, I'll call it the backsplash. Backsplash. Awesome. We have done it. Oh, we do need to give a material to our plate as well. Can't just have it as a default material or else it'll look terrible. So, new material. And the first thing I want to do is adjust the roughness and make it look kind of, shiny like the ceramic plate. Let me just load that up actually one more time. There we go. Use that as my reference. So it's somewhat shiny. And then also I want to give a subsurface because ceramic does actually have a little bit of that that creamy bleed through of the light. So I'll turn my adjust the roughness and make it look kind of shiny like the ceramic plate. Let me just load that up actually one more time. There we go. Use that as my reference. So it's somewhat shiny. And then also I want to give a subsurface because ceramic does actually have a little bit of that that creamy bleed through of the light. So I'll turn my weight up to 1, radius all set to 1, and then the scale 0.001. So a very small amount of subsurface scattering, and it'll just help it a little bit. The color.
Look at that reflection. Oh my god. Ugh. On the counter 同じ仕草で俺を見てたね本当の恋はシネマの中で生きてるだけど笑うよOh. What you? 女が愛に疲れて使う古いセリフさ悲しすぎるよ Lonely dancer 名前も聞かず
I'll also turn down it to make it a little bit not so white, and then I'll make it slightly yellow, a little bit yellowy, creamy color, just like over there. If you want, also, you can buy the plate. It's just not a free model, but it will add realism to your scene if you want to have a plate that is actually real and photo scanned, and it's got all these little speckled little things and divots across it if you want. It is optional. All right, so that is it, guys. Join me in the next part, and we're going to get into lighting. I'll see you there.
Alright, lighting. After this one, we're done. We're not done, but I'm going to be done with the stream. Because I have sleeping to do.
This game, you're not ready for it.
You're not ready for it.
Said, let there be light, which is the topic for this tutorial. Now we want to create the look of a morning kitchen countertop. Like you just woke up in the morning, the sunlight's coming in and it's warm and it's inviting. So we want to have some sunlight coming in from the left. Now we could take our default lamp here and turn it into a sun lamp and then try to angle it like that. But the reason that this looks so terrible is that one of the key components of natural light is not just the sunlight, but the skylight around it. Getting that the right shades of blue and white and the gradient as it goes towards the horizon. And that's actually quite difficult to do. But thankfully, there's a relatively newish feature in Blender which we can use. So rather than using any lamp at all, I'm going to delete the lamps so there is no light in my scene whatsoever. And instead, go to my world tab here. And then where we've got color, I'm going to click the little yellow dot and then select sky texture. And what this has added is besides just the sky texture, it's also added in a sun lamp. So if I rotate around, we should see, look at that, real sunlight coming across it. Now it is very hot by default. So if you go to your render settings, underneath color management at the very bottom here, you've got an exposure slider, which you use actually quite a lot. You can see the lighting has stayed the same, and it doesn't have to render or anything. This is purely just adjusting, the sensor essentially on your camera. And if you hold down Control, I usually just snap it to a -2. Now back to the sky settings. So what this is, essentially it's created the exact look of the sky, a real sun lamp, that little sun disk over there, and everything will change depending on what you set, like the elevation, right? If you set it to be like really low in the sky, well, that's like morning light. And you can see it's changed everything to be like a warm look, right? So we've got like really warm light over everything. And if you change it to be like noon, like the sunlight is coming directly above it, you can see it's a lot colder. And that's because as the sunlight goes lower in the sky, it's now passing through more of the atmosphere. So it's like decaying the light, and you get, you get like an orangey look. But as it goes more vertical, then it's a lot more clearer and cleaner. Anyway, it's a very cool setting that is relatively new in Blender. But yeah, so I'm actually going to leave it at the default at around 15 degrees. The one thing I will change though is the sun size. So you get like really, like clean, hard shadows from the sun. And this sun size here, the reason for this very weird measurement, 0.545 degrees, is because it's actually the real sun size in relation to the Earth. But there are reasons for changing that, because if the sun goes through a cloud, then obviously the cloud is now lighting up and it's creating more of a dispersed look. So from the look of the camera, I usually just adjust this to be like a 2 or a 3, and it just makes the sun a little bit softer around the edges and a little nicer, at least according to me. Awesome, so looks better, but now we have another problem, which is that the skylight is just bleeding in from all directions, right? Because obviously it would. So we need to create an enclosure around it to obviously act as an indoor space. And just before we do that though, whilst I was preparing for this tutorial, I noticed that the donuts are a little close to my backsplash here. And that matters because we're going to use depth of field later to make things that are behind it are like out of focus, but we can't really do that if it's too close to the backsplash. So I'm just going to increase the distance there and also just scale it up a little bit because now that it's in the background, otherwise you'll see like the corners actually appear in the render, which we don't want. So just make that a little bit bigger, move it up. Okay, that's pretty good. So essentially, you just want to have like 1, 2, 3-ish plate widths, I think will do it. But yeah, something like that.
It's a lot more than
I also now just want to make sure, just fiddling around with this now. But yeah, this has got to be positioned exactly on the plate as well. Awesome. Okay, so that enclosure. Obviously, to create that enclosure, we are going to be adding in a cube. So Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And I want to scale this down because although it is like a kitchen, right, nothing outside of the frame is going to be in the shot. So making it bigger than it needs to be is just going to add to the render times because then light has to bounce around those things and not good. So something scaled about that. I don't know, something like that. Now, really what I want it to do is just like that corner here, I want it to be locked to this point. Like I want to move it to that point. And previously in Blender, this was a really fiddly process. I would have to tap G and then Z, move along that, and then try and time it here, and then here, tap G and then Y and move it. And it would never be exactly correct. It would always just be slightly off. Well, now there is a new feature in Blender, literally, that came in this release, 4.0, that has changed the game. So there was a bunch of snapping improvements. So I will show you them now. So it's actually easy to understand if you just go into wireframe mode. So if I tap G, so I'm moving my cube, if you hit B, it now enters you into a new state called snapping mode. So the first thing it's asking you is what is the origin of the object that you're moving that you want to be the snapping point. So essentially, as I mouse over this, you can see the cursor is changing. When it's a circle, that means it's going to snap to that face. If it is a crosshair, that's that edge. If it's a triangle, that's the middle point of the edge, which is sometimes useful. And if it's a square, that has changed the game. So there was a bunch of snapping improvements. So I will show you them now. So it's actually easy to understand if you just go into wireframe mode. So if I tap G, so I'm moving my cube, if you hit B, it now enters you into a new state called snapping mode. So the first thing it's asking you is what is the origin of the object that you're moving that you want to be the snapping point. So essentially, as I mouse over this, you can see the cursor is changing. When it's a circle, that means it's going to snap to that face. If it is a crosshair, that's that edge. If it's a triangle, that's the middle point of the edge, which is sometimes useful. And if it's a square, then that's a vertex. So this is on the object that is selected right now, okay? So I obviously want that corner vertex. So I'm just going to do a single that you're moving is you into a new state called moving my cube. If you hit B, it now enters you into a new state called snapping mode. So the first thing it's asking you is what is the origin of the object that you're moving that you want to be the snapping point. So essentially, as I mouse over this, you can see the cursor is changing. When it's a circle, that means it's going to snap to that face. If it is a crosshair, that's that edge. If it's a triangle, that's the middle point of the edge, which is sometimes useful. And if it's a square, then that's a vertex. So this is on the object that is selected right now, okay? So I obviously want that corner vertex. So I'm just going to do a single click there. Now, after I've clicked, you can see I'm able to select whichever point in the rest of the scene I want to snap it to. So just like, again, it's a square when it's a vertex. So when I'm on these faces here, right there, I'll do a single click. And there we go. So you can see it's perfectly aligned it with the bottom of that backsplash there. Now it is a little weird. I'll be honest. Like maybe it's more weird because I've been using Blender for so long. Maybe beginners find it a little bit easier. But yeah, like the fact that you're in a move state, then you're hitting B, and you will be moving it, but it's in a snapping mode rather than a placement mode. It is a little weird. And also, just to make it even more complicated, you can hold down Alt at any point and then middle mouse to drag around, because sometimes you want to snap like that point, but then you need to select a point underneath an object, so you can hold down Alt middle mouse and then find that point and snap it to that. So that's even weirder, but I'm very glad it's in there because it is great, but it is just like takes a little bit to wrap your head around. But I will continue using it actually. So in face select mode, in edit mode, you can see this is too high up, so I can just, I mean, I could try and place it like this, or I could hit B and then go this point to that point. Same here, G, B, this point to that point. Yeah, it's pretty useful. I mean, it doesn't have to be this exact. I mean, this is just stuff that's outside of the frame, but anyways. All right, and I'll move this out. So I do need to create a little bit of space here because the camera needs to sit here, obviously. So there needs to be a bit of space there. But if I move inside, you should see some flickering. Yay for flickering. The flickering is because obviously the cube comes with 6 faces, but we've already got 2 planes right here. And we don't really need those planes. We could actually map a marble texture to the cube, but then you have to deal with UV unwrapping and all that stuff. I find it's actually easier sometimes to just work with planes and use that instead. So instead, with the cube here, I'm just going to remove the 2 faces that I don't need. So the back face and then this bottom face. So selecting those 2 and then hit X, which is another way to delete, and not vertices, that's what we've been doing currently. Instead, hit faces. So it's just deleting those faces. So now you should see you have, it's kind of like an open box, 4 sides, and then the back and the bottom are open. And now what I need is an opening on the left-hand side to be that window. So to do that, I'm going to cut into it so that I get a little bit of gap here on the left-hand side to be like the gap between the wall and the window, and then another gap here between the bottom of the countertop, and So I'm going to inset, and for that tool it's I. So I for inset, and it's now kind of like it's shrinking that face into itself. And you're just like choosing its scale essentially. I'll hold down Shift to get a more precise movement, and yeah, about there. That's pretty good. And now I just delete that face. So again, X and then faces. Awesome. So we should now see this, which in rendered view mode, rendered view mode, should hopefully look okay. Yeah, not bad. Now this window frame here, it really is just acting like the control for the light. So if I want, I can much more precisely place this. Like I don't want that much light coming in, creating all that light on this side of the wall there. I can also say maybe I need more space here so that I've got a little bit of darkness so I could put some things in the background without them falling into light. And then this bottom face here, this bottom edge, this is going to control where the light starts in the scene, right? So if it's like all the way down here, then it's, anyways, you get the idea. Just sort of shaping the light. Awesome. And now with the camera selected, I'll just move this down a little bit, angle it up. There we go. Awesome. I mean, you can also just do this in fly mode, Shift, tilde key. But I like hitting the R tool and then just selecting the axes, and I can just tilt the camera exactly where I want it. Awesome. So much better. We've controlled the skylight, so the skylight is now longer coming in. But we have uncontrolled lighting in the sense that this wall here, that's over here, that is supposed to represent the rest of the kitchen, is hitting and receiving all of that sunlight, and it's just filling in all of this space on the right-hand side. And that's not good because we want shadow. Shadow is actually a good thing. It helps reveal form. A lot of new artists, they get scared of shadow. They try and fill everything in and light everything. You do want shadow. Shadow is a good thing. So all this uncontrolled space is not good. So essentially we need to do just like what you would do in the real world, and that's to create a, like what a photographer would do. They make like a black fill card, right? And that's just to essentially stop bounce lighting from hitting the subject. So it's a good excuse to learn about a new feature. So with the cube selected, if I go to the materials and then hit new, we're going to keep the white material for everything else, right? White walls. But then I can add another material right underneath this one by hitting the plus button, then adding another material, and I'll call this one black wall. And I actually will change the shader from principled to a much simpler diffuse. It's just easier for cycles to calculate than a full principled one. And then this, I'll just change the color to be really dark, almost black. All right, and now in edit mode, I'm gonna go face select, and I'm gonna select that one wall that I wanna have the black wall material to. And then here I select it from the material list, black wall, and then hit assign. And importantly, you won't see the assign select, these buttons. They'll only appear when you're in edit mode. So if you don't see it, it's because you're not in edit mode. So in edit mode, select the face, then you'll see it and hit assign. And now look at that, we have much more control. And in fact, because this light, sunlight is hitting this this wall and it's currently dark, this color here now becomes almost like the control for how much fill light I want on the right hand side of the donuts. So the brighter it goes, the more fill light I get. Yeah, just a very simple way to control that lighting a bit better. Awesome. That's looking pretty good. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the sun intensity. So there's a separate measurement here just for intensity. Now you could drop the intensity of the whole sky texture as well, but when you do that, it also drops the sky texture, right? And so I found it was like for a while when the feature came out, I was like it was very hard to control. But I realized like if you keep the strength at 1, but then you reduce the sun intensity, you could, like, for example, reduce the sun intensity like by a lot and then increase your exposure. And then it's like the sunlight is there, but it's a lot softer, right? It's not like so overbearing. But essentially what I want to do, I'm going to set this sun intensity to 0.5, so it's half of its brightness, but the sky texture has full brightness, so it's just a little less hot, essentially. Awesome. Now, 2 things I will show you before we close this tutorial, which can be useful to know. One is how to import a model, okay? Because although as a beginner, it's good to understand modeling tools and know how to build things, when you start building scenes, it's very common, professional artists in studios, to just make use of model libraries, because there is so much you need to model and basically fill in to create a realistic, believable scene. It's just too much for one artist to do. So it's very common to make use of model libraries. So what I want you to do is click the link in the description and you will find this model, the wood utensils, which we're going to put in the background, is a free model. And it's available in multiple softwares. The one we're looking for is the Blender file. So hit download on that and then just like before, unzip the file that you receive, and inside it you should see a bunch of textures and then one .blend file. Then we're going to go to File. You would think Import, but actually this is for external file extensions, like not blend files. If you want to import a blend file, it's actually the Append option. Okay, so now we select that .blend file, double click it, and now we're actually reading the blend file. We're reading the information inside that blend file, and it's saying, what do you want to import? Do you want to import just a single object from that blend file? Do you want to import a texture or a material perhaps? But in a lot of cases, if it's just a blend file that contains like one model, it's often going to be in a collection, a single collection. So go into collection and then just click the one that's there and then hit append. And now, even though there is multiple objects as part of this, it's just brought in all of them and it's put it in. into a collection already, utensils jar 001. So now I'm just going to move this into the back of my scene, and that's it. So that's how to import data from one blend file into another. It's going a little slow for me. I'm going to move that. There we go. So I just want it, yeah, somewhere in the background like that. The other thing I want to show you how to do is how to install an add-on. Because although you might think that's kind of like an advanced user thing, you will very quickly realize that a lot of workflows rely on add-ons. So add-ons are very powerful, and there's a lot of them out there, and it's not actually clear how to install add-ons to beginners, so I thought I would include that. So obviously we're going to use the Polygon add-on.
Oh, I forgot that they moved all of these. I forgot that they moved all of these. What? I don't know what that is, but I forgot that they moved like all of these. Just like out of the scene. Good thing it didn't change what was on my donut. I kind of wanted to have like a little bit of above view, kind of like this. Beautiful. All right, let's look at this.
I mentioned this earlier. It just lets you like download and import objects with one click. And there's a bunch of free models in here as well, so you can actually get started with those and do some interesting things. Click the link in the description. This will take you to the download page, and you're just looking to download that. Great. So you can see it's downloaded a single zip file. And importantly, you do not want to unzip that zip file. And the reason is that Blender installs add-ons from the zip file that is unextracted. So to install an add-on, you go to Edit, Preferences, Add, add-ons, and then at the top click on Install, then locate
Where? Excuse me. Where?
Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then at the top click on Install, then locate where you downloaded the zip file, just that there, and then you just hit Install. And now if it's correct, if it's like found and located an add-on inside that zip file, it should then automatically take you to the name of that add-on in the search, so you just have it there. And then to enable it, you just do a single click to check it, and it's now enabled. Now obviously every add-on will have a different way of accessing it, but commonly they are in the sidebar, which is exactly where the Polygon one is. So you'll see the tab here. They might actually be changing the sidebar at some point in the future, but for now this is, anyway, how it is. So then just go log in via browser. It's going to take you to the website. It'll say login confirmed. Return back to the add-on, and you can type in free, and you can see a whole bunch of different assets there. So actually one that I will import, if I go to my models section and then go to vegetation, there's a bunch of different plants here. There's like 4 free ones, I believe, so you can use one of those. I'm going to be using a paid one, just this spider one I thought looked quite nice. But yeah, you can access one of these free ones if you want to. And there we go. Awesome. So this is our render. We are
Pre-plant agave. Monstera. We're gonna have Australian donuts. Look at it. We're gonna have Australian donuts. Look at that. Australian donuts. Okay. No. Okay. I'm gonna save right now. The force of my no. How do I confirm? Man.
nearing the finish
still
line. I
really
can
need that,
feel it.
though.
We're getting close. So join me in the next part. We're going to dive into the composition and then animation and then the final render. So click here and I'll see you there.
All right. Well, chat. We have been very productive. You see, we have been very productive. See, because plant. Okay, I believe that is an ended stream. Save. Alright. If you want to see the render, you're gonna have to come to